Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Inside Story podcast, where we take you behind the scenes of building diverse businesses and becoming a successful entrepreneur. I'm your host, Dursun Halimova, a business coach and facilitator on a mission to help build impactful businesses. And today I'm super excited because my guest is Kiriana Bondar, who is a serial entrepreneur and a brand strategist. She has built several businesses. She's a founder of Queen's Key, which is a niche marketing bureau, and she also co-founded Elemental Grounds and Antique Floors. She has launched her first business at the age of 24 and sold two successful businesses by the age of 29. So it's very impressive storyline right there. It's great to have you, Kiriana, on the Inside Story podcast. Thanks for joining. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to talk about entrepreneurship.
Great. I actually first met Kiriana at a women's event related to entrepreneurship. And I must admit, right there and right then, I was astonished by your openness and honesty. I appreciated it so much. I am new to Luxembourg. And when I mentioned that I am a business coach and I want to establish my business here, you were really generous with your insights, and you shared a few stories about yourself and what are the ups and downs for you as a small business owner. So I appreciate it. And that was basically the inspiration for me to have you on the podcast so everyone else can benefit from your insights.
I hope I didn't scare you off too much from Luxembourg business community.
No, as you can see, I'm still here and
Yeah.
I am still working on my business. So no, you haven't. And I think that the main goal for this podcast is to educate and inform a lot of people who have some misconceptions about building a business. So hopefully this conversation will be useful for them too.
Let's make it
So-
useful.
Yeah. So to start off, I will read 5 unfinished sentences and I would ask you to finish them for me.
Okay.
Being an entrepreneur means
Being myself,
building an impactful business requires
a discipline,
failure is
an experience,
success is a result of
percent of luck, 80% of experience,
being fulfilled in life means
having impactful job and a happy family.
great. Thank you, Kiriana, so much. As I briefly mentioned, you have several businesses you have found and sold, and you are leading some. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you, who you are and what you do? What are the businesses that you are currently leading, and how and why did you start these businesses?
I don't come from a wealthy family, quite the opposite. Now, I also don't come from an entrepreneurial family. My parents are doctors, and since I'm from Eastern Europe, it's not that kind of doctors that drive Porsches. It's quite the opposite, unfortunately. So I come from non-entrepreneurial experience at all. But at the age of 24, I managed to save up some money and I wanted to do something. I wanted to open some business. I don't know. I had this idea stuck in my head that I need to try for some reason. I didn't have anyone around me that was doing it or was successful in it. So I was just walking around with not too much money, but a little bit of money and saying that I want to do something, I want to start. And then a friend of mine, she had an idea and I had money. So we combined it. And we founded, 3 of us, we founded a laser epilation studio, which was a big success for really young girls like us, because this idea was in the right time and in the right place. So that business was successful financially. That business was successful from the terms of building something that works, the processes and etc. And that was my first business, and it lasted for 1 year and a half. And the only problem was that we were 3 young girls. We were extremely ambitious, all of us, and we were pulling the blanket on each other, onto ourselves, and we couldn't let it go. We just couldn't manage to find any compromises because we had 3 strong personalities and we didn't manage. So in the end, I decided to quit. So I sold my part. And I'm really actually proud of this, but a few years later, we're really good friends still. That experience bonded us really tightly. Then we couldn't talk to each other for around a year, I think, after we broke up. But now we are really good friends, and I'm proud to say that they are my friends. I'm really proud to stay in touch with them. So yeah, that was my first business experience, and it actually gave me the most precious gift I ever could have. I understood in a really young age what I want to do with my professional life. I understood that entrepreneurship is something that I can't describe even how fulfilling it is for me, because I built something, I put like brick by brick by brick, and I built the entire house, and this house gives me benefits. And I saw instant results, and I saw really quick return of investment. It's after all, I realized that it's actually not that common to have that much success in the first business venture. But yeah, that experience gave me this understanding about myself, that being an entrepreneur, it's something that I think I want to do until the rest of my life. That was my first experience as a small business owner. And then I came to Luxembourg, and I came here by accident, you can say, because I came here for 2 weeks in February 2020. And they just closed that for the lockdown. I couldn't fly away anymore. So me and my tiny luggage, we stayed here for 6 months. And then I realized, okay, so I moved to Luxembourg, so there is no way back. And here because my first experience in the business was really nice, really fruitful, and I built a lot of confidence in myself. So I came here with the thought that Luxembourg is such a small country. I'm gonna teach everyone how to build a business here. I'm a big city girl. I'm gonna bring my knowledge here. I'm gonna bring my skills. Everything is gonna work just fine in here. And first of all, A, it was a COVID time, and B, this is entirely different universe. This is nothing to compare to my previous experience. So guess what? It didn't work. And it took me quite a while to overcome that first failure. So first I established a company because I'm also kind of a handy woman. I was doing tables in the kintsugi art. So I was doing the concrete tables. Then I was cracking them. Then I was putting them back together, all in a really nicely manner. And I thought, what a brilliant idea. I'm going to sell hundreds of them, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be so successful. Yeah, it didn't work at all. I didn't sell even one. I did offer it to my family-in-law and to my friends. This was nice, but that's it. And then I was quite low with my life in general, because Luxembourg is not easy for everyone. And then this idea came to actually through the TikTok, because I saw that this idea is thriving in America and in Australia. I was now an event organizer. I was organizing outdoor events and picnics. My company was called Pitchy Picnics, aka Pitchnik. People might see me in RTL and a couple of magazines too. A lot of people still, by this day, know me as the Pitchy Girl, because I was doing the Pitchy Picnic. And that worked quite well. I loved what I was doing. But that idea was in the right time, but in the wrong place. Because as you might know by now, Luxembourg is not such a kind with the weather. Not at all. And when you do outdoor events, this is number one factor that is gonna fail you, which it did to me. So I was working in the warm season and basically trying to survive in the cold season. And even with all the success, with the people saying how grateful they are that I brought something like this to Luxembourg, how happy they are to be my clients, I got so many people giving me great feedback and keeping me going. I realized after doing the math, finally, after 1 year and a half, that in order to achieve my financial goals, I need to A, hire at least 3-4 people, and B, in terms of funding them, because in Luxembourg is extremely high for the employer to have a personal. So in order to finance them, I need to do around 200 events each 6 months, which is not possible for me unless I work for the government and doing a big event. But then I need to do even more people, to hire people, so this didn't work, unfortunately. So I started to think what to do with this, because the brand was brilliant and people loved the idea. And that was breaking my heart, because I know that there are people out there who is willing to pay for it. So I decided to put it on sale, and people who already are event organizers, they bought it. So they already have the team, and it makes sense for them because they just add some activity to their existing business. So this was my second business that I sold. This one already was in Luxembourg. So Pitchnik now is existing and functioning, I hope. I'm still in touch with these people. So voila. And then after I sold it, there was a girl who came to me. She's also a really wonderful entrepreneur in Luxembourg, because she saw what I did with the marketing for my project in Luxembourg, which basically I took my previous skills and I combined with the existing market. And she asked me to help her with the marketing. And I said yes, and this is how I realized that actually my skills and my knowledge that I gained through those experiences, I can use to help other entrepreneurs, which I do to this day. And the Queen's Key Bureau, it's all about helping small and medium entrepreneurs. So this is one of the direction that I'm going. We focus on the digital marketing and the social media marketing, content production, content editing, etc. And I'm really, really happy. And only this year, actually, I was thinking about it the other day, that only now, this first season, I'm not anxious when it's raining outside because I know I still have a job, even if it's raining in Luxembourg. So I think it gave me a little bit of PTSD, this bad weather in my outdoor events business. A few months ago, I joined Antique Floors company, which you actually can see right here.
Yeah.
This is what we do. We supply bespoke parquet. This was the company from my partner, and he invited me to join him in his venture. And we are co-founded Elemental Grounds. Elemental Grounds is the same direction. It's the bespoke parquet, but more oriented on the B2C sales than B2B that was originally Antique-Floor oriented. So voilà, this is really brief my entrepreneurship path. Yeah, this is what I do now.
Great. No, thank you so much. It is indeed quite insightful. You've done so many different things. And I can only relate to the pain of moving to a new place, trying to establish yourself. I'm personally going through this. But even when, at times when I feel I'm established and everything is okay, I constantly question myself, like, is this the right path? Shall I be doing something else? So I think it is challenging. And the weather and prices in Luxembourg doesn't make it any easier, I must admit.
No.
Yeah. You have told us, kind of given us this storyline of your entrepreneurial journey. Were there any specific skills or expertise or people who you consider were instrumental in your success?
I think for the first business that I've built, there was more over personal traits than the skills, because skills we were gaining as we were working on this business, because we were all three of us, we were quite new to the big entrepreneurship path. So for the first business, it was more of personal traits such as I was willing to take risks. So I put all the money that I've saved. I could buy easily apartment with a mortgage, a good one in my city, but I decided to put the entire thing into the business, and then I even loan a bit more because it's not enough. So yeah, the ability to take risks and the ability to overcome anything that comes to your path that is slightly different from your plan. So if something goes not your way, try to find another way. That was the two keys that helped me for the first business. And here in Luxembourg, that's quite different though, because here I did have to improve my skills, not my personal traits, because I was ready to go in terms of the mindset entrepreneur. I was fully on. But in terms of the skills, I had to go back to school. I have to learn some marketing, and which actually led me to what we're talking about now. I had to learn some strategic mindsets, brand strategy, marketing strategy, communication strategy, etc. Because before I was doing that on a kind of intuition level. And now I had to know how it works, because it didn't work my way, because I am different from these people that I came to. I think differently. My customer patterns are different. Everything was different. So I had to learn how it works in theoretical world, so I can build a strategy for them, not just based on my own personal experience. So that was the skill for me personally. All the personal traits is the same. It's basically the ability to overcome any bumps that comes to your way. And in Luxembourg, I think I managed to take this skill up to the top of the top now. I don't think anything can surprise me anymore.
Never say never.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what? I take my work back, universe. Please don't listen to me. Yeah, so here I actually gain another skill that I carry on doing what I'm doing, no matter that I don't succeed yet. So basically, if you would look at my past before, I was going up all the time in my career path, in my business path, financially, skill-wise, people-wise, everything. And here it was a lot of going down, and it's still going down. We are not going uphill yet, but I managed to build this mindset that yes, I don't see instant results, but I still believe in something that I can achieve, and this is what keeps me going. Also previous experience, because I know how it can be. So I relate to that. But yeah, basically I didn't expect this from myself, that I could be that strong and just keep going no matter that it just doesn't work sometimes. And yeah, this is what I developed in Luxembourg a lot.
That is impressive because I think it is such a useful trait or habit to develop, right? To persevere regardless of the difficulties, especially when you don't see the results. And I think in today's day and age, we live on instant gratification, right?
Yeah.
With the social media, with everything else. I speak for myself. If I can get instantly happy, I don't want to postpone it, right? And I want to see the result of my work right now. So how do you develop that? Because I think with entrepreneurship, especially, it is important because a lot of entrepreneurs actually, when they start building their businesses, they fail because they become impatient, they can't deal with the challenges, and then they just give up because they don't see the positive results. They don't feel like maybe the idea is right. So, how do you build this patience to persevere, especially when you don't see the results of your work?
It's 3 words, so it's eyes on the prize. So I was really lucky in my life that my first business was successful and I got the best version of it. So I know how it can be. So I know how a good, fulfilling project can feel like and what it can be financially and mentally wise. So this is basically what keeps me going because yes, I know it's hard now, but I know how it can be in terms of being an entrepreneur. And it's not only failures or only bumps or only loses. And I know that myself included, I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not an expert. Sometimes I do whine a lot to my partner and then I say that I want to stop it. And then I, even for 24 hours, I can pretend that I'm trying to look for a job, but then after 24 hours, I'm coming back and saying, oh, no, no. So basically, because I had this previous experience and I felt that it's truly me, truly myself in there, like, this is something, some people have callings like surgeons or they are astronauts or something. I am entrepreneur. I feel it to my bone that I am this. And I don't want to pretend that I'm not. And this is something that is really important for me because I think we are, to the previous thought, you're absolutely right that nowadays we are trying to get the quick satisfaction of everything. There is a dopamine satisfaction with the TikTok, Instagram, etc., with all the social media. We're trying to get instant results from our work, myself included. I'm guilty as charged for this as well. But I see here a bigger goal because let's say we work 8 hours per day, 40 hours per week. It's a huge amount of our life. It's like basically 2/3 of, if you're not counting the sleep, of our life. And I want to be happy of what I'm doing. Like, it's really rare when I saw a job description or, let's say, a team environment that I'm happy with. So I want to pursue my happiness in the work life as well because it's extremely important. I just can't. We actually discussed it with my partner the other day. And I say, I wish I could be an employee in Luxembourg because my life would be so much easier, honestly. But I can't. I just can't. I physically can't overcome it because I want to spend these 8 hours a day, but actually I'm working way more sometimes, these 10 hours a day, 12 hours doing something that I like. And that's basically what keeps me going because no matter what results are now, A, I know that they can be better and I know that they can be a way more satisfying. Yes, thank you. Satisfying for me. And B, even if I don't get instant results now, I still like the process really much. So basically, that's how there is no discipline in this one, unfortunately for me.
I can totally relate. I also left full-time job a few years ago. I started also my first professional experience started with business. Basically, I was involved in sales for quite a while. And then at some point I established my own business at the age of 17. That was like life-changing experience for me. And somehow then I switched to full-time job. I had number of jobs in number of countries. I thought I was happy. I was constantly chasing the dream job. And in my mind, the dream job was full-time job, working at a specific organization, doing specific things. But then the realization occurred that the dream job is my job, the job that I create for myself. I cannot explain what it is, but there is this extra kind of power I get when I'm working on my own thing and knowing that if I fail, it's up to me. If I succeed, it's up to me. So I think there is this kind of fulfillment and satisfaction that comes from following what you like, what you do, and actually creating something that you are passionate about. I want to touch upon one of the challenges that while doing a bit of research on you, preparing for today's interview, I saw a couple social media posts that triggered my curiosity and I want to follow up. One post specifically where you talk about self-doubt, saying that self-doubt is our main enemy. And I couldn't agree with this more, especially when you want to start a business. I actually did a YouTube video recently about this, overcoming self-doubt as an entrepreneur. It is very challenging. And I think a lot of people have amazing ideas, amazing talent, amazing potential, but they doubt themselves a lot. And that's why they don't give themselves a chance at entrepreneurship. And you talk about how the way we are brought up basically in a society where we're constantly reminded that we're not enough. We're not smart enough, beautiful enough, or successful enough, not good enough, basically, right? And then you touch upon the difference between how men and women experience this, saying that you have never met a man who didn't ask for a raise because they felt they're not worthy, yet women, we experience and struggle with it maybe slightly more. So are there, kind of following up on this, are there any unique challenges that you experience or experienced so far, be it because you are a female entrepreneur, maybe because you have and running several businesses at the same time? Are there any specific challenges that you had to go through while building and running your businesses?
Well, actually, the number of businesses that I'm running is more of a funny challenge. Like, I like to overcome this challenge. So this is the one that I take it as a game more than abstraction to me. But two others, yes, the fact that I'm a female entrepreneur, I'm not gonna say that even in 2000 that we fought the patriarchy and we won. It's not true. We didn't yet. I hope we will one day, and I hope I will be alive to see it. But so far, it's still right there, especially in some conservative societies like Luxembourg. This is actually my kind of discovery of the year, because before I thought that I have quite okay self-esteem. I'm not gonna self-beat myself to death over some mistakes or anything. But then I realized, and actually my partner pointed out, that even if I'm really good at what I'm doing, I'm thinking about it 3 times and I'm finding like little imperfection and try to make it perfect all the time. Even if other people, they wouldn't, first of all, the customers wouldn't even see it. Second of all, my colleagues don't even know about these still small details. So I'm trying to find any kind of imperfections to make it beautiful, small thing. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. Is it the marketing? Is it the content creation? Is it the strategy? Is it the market selling? No matter what. And I was lying to myself saying that self-confident enough. It is actually not true. I think it's only now that I was honest to myself and I said, okay, I do have this self-doubt. I do have it a lot. And in my case, it's not when I start something, it's more of the result of my job. When other people were saying to me that, let's take my events, they were perfect, they were beautiful, they have never seen anything like it, I was still not happy with it, because I would say, yeah, the grass was not green enough because the July was too dry, you know? And I would bring up all the time these little details and pinch myself with it. I don't understand why. But then I actually understood why, because since I was a little girl, I was told by society, by the school, that I need to be better. I need to also, of course, as for someone from Eastern Europe, of course, I was told that I need to be a little bit shy in front of the boys and let them win and pretend that I'm dumb and the beauty is the everything, etc. And all of these things. And when I was already a grown woman, of course, I understand that this is not something that I want to follow up in life. But then what I didn't realize was that these seeds that were still in me saying to me that I'm not good enough, I need to go and learn. That's why I went to learn some marketing skills, etc. I was actually trying to kind of prove myself to it that I can do it. Okay, now I have a diploma, I have a certificate, so now I can do it. So that was it. I did gain some knowledge, of course, but not that much. I didn't need it at the time. I could work without it. But no, I need to go and take this course after that course after this course and take the consulting. And I realized that, yeah, it was because I'm constantly trying to approve myself, which men never do, because they're differently educated in general. And I see it all the time. I see it with the people who I work with. I see it with the clients. And actually, a friend of mine, we had this talk with her a long time ago. She's also an entrepreneur in Luxembourg. And we decided that since now we're going to try to act like a man, even if the job is not perfect enough as we think it should be, we're gonna still do it. We're gonna ask for that high price. And again, high price in our high price is one thing, and high price in the men's world, it's quite another. So we're gonna ask for that high price. We're gonna still submit the project even if it's not perfect, because it has to be just that, like just do it. And I gotta tell you, it's not easy at all to overcome this perfectionist inside of me and this imposter syndrome that almost all of us have. I still have it to this day. I still fight it a lot. So yeah, that was some challenge of this year, and the challenge of several years in Luxembourg. The fact that Luxembourg it's what we discussed in that meeting. It's not small business friendly. You're not going to hear it from official government, social media, or general media, but it's true. And I keep hearing it from each person in Luxembourg that I talk to about business. It is not business friendly, and it is like that on purpose. So they don't know how to do it. They do know what to do to help small business, digital ones. And it's absolutely they're right. So long story short, Luxembourg is thriving because of the big corporations that are coming here. They bring the capital in here. They bring people in here, expats, and that's how Luxembourg leads. Luxembourg doesn't want a lot of changes because we are already half of the population are expats, and I get it. It's their home. And entrepreneurship, it's also changes all the time, no matter what project you do. You open a little coffee shop in the building, you're going to change a little bit the building. You're going to change the roads of people who is coming and going. You're going to change something. And if you look at the history of Luxembourg, you will see that it survived as a country, as a community, because they were holding on to what they are. And the main motto of Luxembourg, we want to stay as we are. They don't even hide it. So they don't want expats or even their own to come and to change the environment and then maybe to go, because the life of expat, the average life of expat in Luxembourg is 2-3 years. So people coming, build a business, change the environment, and then they're going. So they don't want that. It is bad for people like me because I'm here for longer than 2-3 years, and I actually recently started to learn Luxembourgish moyen.
Right.
Yeah, and I cannot do anything else, and I know for a fact that I can bring something nice to this country. I know for a fact that I can employ people, pay taxes, etc. So I can do something nice, but because of this system, I'm completely restrained with everything. And this is something that I still found it as a challenge, but one of the traits of entrepreneur, I cannot whine about it all the time. I had to stop at one point and think, okay, so what do I do? Do I leave the country? Do I go somewhere where is more small business friendly? Or do I stay here and do I try to make it work? Do I build a business that works here, specifically in this community, specifically with all of these conditions that I'm facing? So as we're speaking now from Luxembourg, you can understand that I decided to go the second route, and I decided to stay here and to try to apply my skills into something that will work in Luxembourg. In the beginning, you asked me what a successful business is. The business actually requires not much of the stuff. You need to just be risk friendly. You need to take some risk and be okay if something doesn't work. But successful business takes 20% of the luck. I'm not gonna say it's not, it is, and 80% of the experience. And by experience, I need to be able to see what idea would be right for this place, for this time, and for my personal skills. So what can I do exactly in this period of time, exactly in this place, to be successful? And that's what I'm trying to do here. We will see if I'm gonna succeed. I hope soon.
Hopefully, from what I can see, you are doing well so far. I think no matter in what business you are and in what country, I think there are enough challenges for entrepreneurs. And so it is, in a way, I think we have no choice but kind of survive and find ways to make it work within the constraints that we exist in, right? So I appreciate that perseverance. And I actually wanted to dig a bit deeper here because this is the conversation we had when we met in person. And I saw a post that you made where you openly share about some of these challenges. And if you don't mind me, I will maybe briefly share with our audience that post. Basically, there you talk about how difficult it is to be a solopreneur or small business owner because you have certain fixed costs that you have to take into account regardless if you make income or not. And after you explain this, you say the following, and I'll read this. I cry 1 to 2 times per week from pressure and not achieving my desired results. In December and January, for 2 months, I paid my entire salary for my accountant services. I hired a marketing assistant in February instead of paying myself a salary. I take this responsibility. I'm still doing business and preaching entrepreneurship. So I think this gives our audience a bit of like a reality check of how challenging entrepreneurship is. But for whatever reason, as you also pointed out, right, you don't see yourself going back to full-time job. So tell us what makes you persevere in business and continue doing what you do.
Yes, you're right. As I mentioned before, I have good experience of a previous business that keeps me going, that I know how it can be. And also, I still believe that I can find the right balance, the right way to exist in Luxembourg, and not only this, but to thrive. And not only thrive financially, like only for myself, but to give some good things to the society back. And this gives me an ultimate happiness. So, of course, I'm, as we all are, I hope, and I'm pretty sure we all are trying to achieve this ultimate happiness. So this is one for me. And that's what keeps me going. And actually, there is a plot twist to the accountant stuff, because last week, and that's also a bit of a reality in Luxembourg, it's a bit of a challenge to find an accountant that does the job well. Last week, I received a letter from tax office saying that me, aka my accountant, the one that I paid 2 months of my salary to, didn't submit some declarations, 2 out of 3, to the tax office, and now I'm looking at the 1,200 euro fine. Yeah, and this is also what happens, but I don't even take it as something bad already. I just emailed my accountant and was like, yeah, I didn't even complain this time. I just sent him a letter and I said, let's fix that. So I don't care what you do, just let's fix that. And Luxembourg is teaching me patience, a lot of patience, because I'm a really impatient person. I speak fast, I want to act fast, I want to also not fast at least, but some results please.
Yeah.
And Luxembourg has been teaching me patience, because the all successful entrepreneurs that I see here, either they're doing the business for the community, either they're based here and they're doing international businesses, they achieve results over time. So the fast results are not super common in here as they're common in my home country. And that's why I still keep going, because I see that it's possible. It just takes time and my patience now. And also that, again, I remember how happy I was with those results in the process in general. And I am happy here in the process too. So that's what keeps me going. One of the main traits of entrepreneurship is what I call an ultimate responsibility. So as you mentioned before, and I completely agree with that, you're responsible for your own success and you're responsible for your own failure. And I think all the people, no matter either they are entrepreneurs or not, should take this, because we are here in the Western community. We all always like to complain a bit and think, oh, but this could be better and that can be better. And let's say I have a bad neighbor. I don't like the neighbor that I'm living with. And I can complain the entire months, years about that neighbor, or I can move, or I can come to the neighbor and try to fix the situation, because I don't know, maybe the neighbor is just not happy that I didn't invite him to the party or something like that. And if the neighbor is a complete bad person, still I can move, I can do something about it. And that's what I like about entrepreneurship, that we are all responsible of the environment around us and most of the situation that happens to us. Of course, if the tomorrow Luxembourg will be covered by the hurricane, I'm not gonna do much about it. But so far, I can change my accountant and I can stop complaining, because I already did some consultation with another accountants and I brought all my problems there and I'm trying to find a solution. So constant looking for solution of the problem. It's the core as entrepreneurship that I'm trying to explain to people who are not into it, but also can take this as something that can help them in life and something that can help us as a society in general. Because when we see something is happening in the world or in our country, in our neighborhood, lately I noticed that, and I'm myself included, that we just think that somebody else will take care of it. And I think it's a really wrong approach to life, because this is a concept that spreads to every field in your life. Somebody will take care of your job, a better job. Maybe your next job will be not that bad. Or if you're even an entrepreneur and you don't have great sales, you can complain, oh, it's just a bad season. Or, my phone doesn't ring. Why it doesn't ring? Instead of looking for solution, take your phone and call your client. Go and find another job. So this is something that I really like in people. And I think entrepreneurship is like the ultimate version of it, but we can take a simplified version and apply it day by day life. And with this approach, I found myself way happier, because I know that no matter what happens to me, I can find some goods and bads in it, and I can find some solutions. And this what makes my life bearable when it's a non-bearable season, let's say.
No, yeah, I agree. I think it's so important to own, right? And to have the responsibility, own your choices and decisions. I recently interviewed another social entrepreneur. He started an initiative called Clean Something for Nothing. Basically, he put together an app where this is kind of in a way to recognize people who are already doing it. You know, you go on a walk, on a picnic, or on a hike, you see trash somewhere laying around, you collect it. And he is trying to raise awareness and encourage this behavior about picking up trash, even if no one cares. And it's not your job, it's not in your neighborhood, but you know what? We all live in a global planet where I think if I do something nice, hopefully it benefits you and the other way around. So I couldn't agree more with this approach. And this is one thing I also admire among entrepreneurs, that this desire to solve problems, solve challenges. Because imagine if everyone took responsibility and owned their choices, right? And owned their own happiness, were in charge of their own happiness and fulfillment. I think much more people would be more happier and fulfilled with their lives.
I'm pretty sure we would live in a different society if everybody would take responsibility on their own actions.
Yes, indeed. This was such an insightful conversation, Kiriana. I appreciate it. You have shared so much wisdom and your story. So, for our listeners, if you could give one takeaway message, what would that be? What do you want our listeners to take home?
I assume there would be two types of listeners, entrepreneurs, so people who want to try it, and just the people who is curious about it. So for people who is curious about it, it's not such a new thought, but I would like to remind that try to appreciate small business alone, because no matter if you think that it's just a creperie, what does it take to make a pancake? It's nothing. It's actually a huge job. And also small business owners, they kind of inviting you, especially if it's offline business, they inviting you to their own universe that they created. And
Yeah.
it's they part of their soul in there. So be please really careful when you judge someone with this, because I've seen that a lot of people could never try to take this kind of responsibility on them. They then go to the Google reviews and leave obnoxious reviews, and then business owner cries, and it's a real story. So please just try to be more empathetic for them and understand that anything they do, small business owners, 99% of them, they literally just try to satisfy the customer. It's not a big corporation who trying to rip you off. It's really far from that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be existing. So that would be a message for people who are just curious about it. And for entrepreneurs and people who want to be entrepreneurs, I would just say keep going. No matter what happens, if you feel that it's your calling, like I do, sometimes it will be down period, sometimes it will be up period. Just keep going and surround yourself with the people who understand what you're going through. It's really, really important, because if you are only entrepreneur in your friend circle, nobody else will understand what kind of challenges you're going through. And there is obviously they can give you advices, but they will be far from the reality, because again, they don't know what they're talking about. So try to surround yourself, and it's also good for the people who want to be entrepreneurs, of other entrepreneurs who you want to be in the future. This is actually really nice, because in the beginning of my journey in Luxembourg, I was listening to a lot of people who are entrepreneurs here still, but they were only complaining. And then I realized quite quickly that all I can do is also only complain in this environment. I don't want to do that. This I can do by myself just fine. So I found many other people, and they do exist in Luxembourg, who are successful, semi-successful, trying like me. And they optimistic, and they trying to change the environment in a good way. So try to surround yourself at least a little bit with this kind of people. Then normally we are entrepreneurs, we are quite open for the communications. So if you want to meet someone, just ask for a coffee or for the podcast, because it's a really pleasure. Yeah.
Indeed, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm still new to Luxembourg, and first of the things I did was just reach out to few people, and then I joined few organizations and went to events. Even people who have never met me agreed to have a coffee with me and just to give some insights about Luxembourg, how can I make it home, and so on. I appreciate it. And yeah, you are also a true example of this. I just out of the blue reached out to you to interview you for this podcast. So I appreciate it. And maybe I want to close by just sharing a few thoughts about one of your posts, actually, also on social media, which I really admired, because you call people to share their knowledge with others. You say keeping knowledge to oneself and striving to take more than you contribute is a wrong approach to life. Everything should be in balance. The more you give to others and to your work, the more you receive. And I think you have done that today, Kiriana. I appreciate it so much. You have taken the time to share your story, ups and downs, as well as some advice to our listeners. Hopefully, they feel as inspired and encouraged as I am after having heard your story. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Darshan, for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to listen to other episodes because you got me curious now about social entrepreneurs in Luxembourg.
Yes, I hope so. And that's the goal with this podcast, to share the stories of different entrepreneurs, because building a business requires so many different skills and talents, and we're all different. We bring us, like unique us, into the process. So I think it is great to hear other people's stories. So maybe one last thing, Kiriana, if our listeners want to connect with you or follow you, how can they do that?
They can do it through social media, such as Instagram or LinkedIn.
Perfect.
And again, I'm really open for communication. So if anyone wants to reach to talk about entrepreneurship, I'm like a crazy entrepreneurship lady that is preaching it. I'm always up for it.
That's good. We need preachers like you. So thank you so much. I will share your contact details, the social media accounts under the description of the podcast. And again, thank you so much, Kiriana, for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.